Fire. The ancient enemy, the ancient friend. Our destruction and our salvation. We fight it and we adore it. We have always had a complicated relationship to a natural process that even today we do not fully understand. Fire is a thing, but it is an ephemeral phenomenon that may permanently affect our world. Symbolic of the passions of love and hope, yet also a symbolic icon of the destruction of love and hope. You can burn with passion, and you can burn with hatred. Our internal fire fuels compassion, and yet it can destroy armies. And so, because of its immutable nature, it has become one of the universal symbols of the sacred. When we dare to bring this profound flame into our daily lives, we should be aware of the subtle associations that come with playing with fire. We have a history of bringing this sacred flame into our dwellings, for warmth, for preparing food, and for the conviviality of friends and families, and we should be circumspect regarding its symbolic nature. The very word fireplace immediately conjures up the image of a wall with a niche for a firebox and surrounded by either fireproof stone or brick. We also expect to see a traditional hearth and a mantel. This image stems from the 19th and early 20th centuries when many traditional homes were often built with an inglenook. This is a smaller room off of a larger one that is centered on the fireplace and usually flanked by sitting areas or built-in benches. A perfect, cozy place of conversation with friends and families. It was the warming heart of an often cold and drafty house with ill-fitting windows and rattling doors. It was a place to tell tall stories and plan adventures in secret. Later on, as homes became better insulated and better built, the inglenook started to fade into memory. But the value of a fire in our homes did not diminish. It just took different, more stylish, and modern forms. In the early 1950s and through the 70s, we saw more imaginative designs, which sometimes elevated the idea of a fireplace from just being a hole in the wall to a sculptural element in a modern, often glass-filled house. Functional, yet also playful, these designs became artful objects rather than essential sources of warmth in our newly air-conditioned and centrally heated houses. But are these fab fireplaces really a place for fire? Yes, the fire is safely contained within the firebox, and most would agree that safety is the first concern, lest the fires of destruction escape its container and destroy the things we regard as essential in our lives. Thus, the fire is tamed, inhibiting its power and making it safe. The once critical source of warmth and key to survival is beginning to become a decoration. Does this little container allow for the passion of fire? Does it allow for the metaphors of rebirth, hope, purification, and most of all, illumination ring through our lives in the very place we dwell and call our home? So what if we look at this place of fire in a different way? Midwestern architect Frank Lloyd Wright often used the fireplace as the main focal point of his residential designs. Here, at the home of the Johnson family, dubbed Wingspread, the fireplace is the main star in a grand gallery of spaces used for entertaining. In fact, the single gigantic chimney at the center of the 12,000 square foot home is fed by no less than 5 places to build a fire. Here, the massive display still reflects the lingering idea that a fireplace here is for show. In this case, you could call it a spectacle within a spectacle of modern prairie-style opulence. Even in his more modest, yet still grand homes, the fireplace becomes a showstopper. Today, these monumental homes are not within the reach of most people. But let's look back a few years before these grand modern castles were built by Wright. And here we find that there is a small, rather modest exception. In fact, it could be argued that this little house has the distinction of having the grandest place for fire in the least opulent of Frank Lloyd Wright's homes. This surprisingly intimate house is in the Prospect Park neighborhood of Minneapolis, near the University of Minnesota. Built in 1934, 5 years before Wing Spread, for only $10,000, the home is small compared with other houses in the neighborhood. It is a little over 1,000 square feet. Let's take a quick look at how this house is designed. The Willie House is defined by a great L-shaped brick wall shielding the house from its neighbors to the north and east. As the brick wall strikes the ground, it bends to the south and becomes the floor of the home, passing beyond the confines of the interior to become a grand terrace reaching toward the south and the expansive view toward the Mississippi River Gorge, uniting inside and outside. Where the wall bends to form the floor, the wall is articulated just enough to form a chimney, and at this geographic center of the structure is a place to build a fire. It is the true heart, the fire, and the passion of the home. Look at this photo carefully. Notice how the line of the top of the fireplace is the same as the height of the ceilings in the hallway to the right. In other words, the place of fire is not a small box close to the floor, but a place tall enough for you to stand next to the fire, carefully tending it as you would a campfire. There is no hearth. There is no mantel. There is no separation of the fire from the home. Also notice how a cauldron can be hung from the ironwork to cook a vast pot of soup. This is not a fireplace. It is a place to build a fire in the room. This is a place where our imaginations are not confined to fire-safe boxes. It is a place of expression. It is a place where stories are welcomed. It is a place of laughter. It is a place to cook 10 gallons of soup to be shared with 100 people. So how do we understand this sacred place of fire today? Alas, as civilization advances, it seems to advance away from, rather than toward, living, breathing experience. Can we truly live the fire in the human soul when we can today turn on a representation of fire with a remote control and change its color to our whim, and then believe that that is a symbol of our lives? And look, we can now put fake fires inside our fireproof furniture. Does this animated picture of a fire underneath our big black box that shows animated pictures of life portend the fate of our souls? The rich, living symbol of our internal fire is in danger of being reduced to mere decoration. And so are we in danger of turning into mere avatars as well, content with being just a representation of the fire within? It's too bad if a heart lacks fire and is deprived of the light of a heart ablaze. The day on which you are without passionate love is the most wasted day of your life. So go now and build an ancient fire. Laugh and drink and tell fantastical stories of your life around it. Then chuck that silly furniture into it.